Secure remote access. So in order for us to remotely access a device, we use this telnet command or SSH. Again, what we mean by remote access, say for example, you work as a support. You are here in the Philippines, you can access a switch or a router or any network device that is there in UK. It's one reason why we have many technical support here, or like BPO companies that offers this kind of services. Well, because we can remotely access network devices through telnet or SSH. So very important details with Telnet. It uses port 23. It's an old protocol. It's not secured. What's best to use is SSH. Well, because in Telnet is the password is in plain text, it's sent in plain text. So using Wireshark, be able to actually see the password set in the Telnet session. So best is to use SSH for remote access as a remote access command. It uses port 22. It provides a much secured means of connecting to a remote device. Well, because the passwords and other credentials are encrypted and has a strong encryption. So like if you are to use Wireshark, what you'll see in the credentials, password, username are all in um, ciphertext in an encrypted format. To verify SSH version, I'll have a separate video where I'll demonstrate configuring SSH in a Cisco device. And these are the different steps. So you need to verify SSH support, then set up a domain name. You need to generate the RSA key pairs using crypto key generate RSA command. Then you set up username and password. You enable the SSH protocol in the line VTY. And that's for the step 5. And last step is to enable SSH version 2. There's a command for that also. And to verify, we use PATI. And there's an SSH option there. Okay, PATI. It's a hyper-terminal it's a terminal emulation software. Equivalent in Windows is hyper-terminal. And it's open source, it's freeware. Okay, you need to log in to SSH, type the username, and then the password. Password you cannot see in the Cisco router. It's in shadow mode. It's a Unix feature. iOS is based actually on Unix operating system. Okay, to verify the version, we type show IP SSH. To verify if there are established SSH session, we type show SSH. Basic router configuration. You've covered basic configuration in your Cisco one. This is sort of a review. Very important to set our host name. To set up a host name, we have host name and then the name of the device. It's very important to set a password in the privilege mode. That's enable secret and then the password. Also set password in the line console. This is the first password being asked. To do that, line console 0 you type and then password, then Cisco, then login. And then for Telnet to work, you need to set up a password in the line VTY. Line VTY space 0 space 4. This represents the number of sessions you can create. So like there are like 5 sessions, session 0, session 1, 2, 3, and 4. Meaning you can telnet this device R1 by 5 users simultaneously. So then we set password by typing password and then the password. Line console and line VTY, if you type show run, it's in plain text. If you want to encrypt it, we type service password encryption. That's a command for you to encrypt all password. Using type 7, it's actually not that secured. Okay. Enable secret also nowadays is not secured. It uses MD. It uses MD5 as its encryption mechanism. Set up a banner. The command is banner MOTD, a character, and then the message. And then same character you declare here. Okay. Then you save, copy, and then the running config, which is the RAM. It's a temporary storage. You save it in the startup config. So it's like this is the source going to the destination. Okay, and then you just press enter and then enter. To our devices, end devices like Windows, right now you can set up an IPv4 and IPv6, and we call it dual stack. Okay, dual stack. Also in Packet Tracer, it supports that. So as of now, our end devices supports both of these um, logical addresses, IP version 4 and IP version 6. So as with routers and switches, so you can set up an IPv4 and an IPv6. And the syntax is IP address, then the IP ad, and then the subnet mask. For IPv6 is IPv6 address, then the IPv6 address, and then the prefix length. We activate it using the command no shutdown. We may also set up a description. This is an optional command we can do in our interface. So here is an example. So you go to the interface, say G, you may use G, then the specifications of the port, say 0/0/0. Then we type IP address, then the IP address, and then the subnet mask. For IPv6 address, IPv6 address, then the IPv6 address, and then the prefix length, which is equivalent to the subnet mask. We may set also a description. Description, for example, this interface is the link going to the LAN network. Okay. So at least users are well guided on what's the use of that interface. You may set up a loopback IP. Sorry, say you want to represent a logical interface. The syntax is interface loopback and then the number and then IP address, then the IP address and the subnet mask. Use of the loopback, you may encounter it when you are in routing. Okay, you sometimes it's used to present as an identity of the device, like in OSPF. To verify directly connected networks, we use show IP interface brief to check layer 1, layer 2. We verify the syntax, the configuration, the active configuration by typing in show running config. We may also filter it out. So you only want to display the interface. So you may type show running config, then interface, then the interface ID. If you want to check the routing table, show IP route for IPv4 and show IPv6 route for IPv6. And to sum it up for this module, so again, after a Cisco switch is powered on, it will undergo this 5-step boot sequence, and the boot environment variable is set using the boot system global configuration mode command. Use the switch LED to monitor switch activity and performance. The bootloader provides access into the switch if the operating system cannot be used because of missing or damaged system files. To prepare a switch for remote management access, the switch must be configured with an IP ad and subnet mask. To manage the switch from a remote network, it must be configured with the default gateway. Full duplex communication increases effective bandwidth. Switch ports can be manually configured with specific duplex and speed settings. We use auto negotiation when the speed and duplex settings of the device connecting to the port are unknown, and when auto mdix is enabled, the interface automatically detects the required cable connection type and configures the connection appropriately. There are several show commands to use when verifying switch configurations. Telnet is an old protocol that uses unsecure plain text transmission of both the login authentication and data transmitted between the communicating devices. SSH provides security for remote connections by providing strong encryption when a device is authenticated. An iOS file names that includes the combination K9 supports cryptographic features and capabilities. And to configure SSH, you must verify that the switch supports it, configures the IP domain, generates RSA key pairs, configures use authentication, configure the VTY lines, and enable SSH version 2. And to verify SSH is operational, we type show IP SSH. One distinguishing features between switches and routers is the type of interfaces supported by each. Router supports LANs and WANs and interconnect different types of network. We also have the IPv4 loopback, which is a logical interface internal to the router. And we have useful commands to identify status of an interface like show IP interface brief, the show run, the show IP route. And we may use show history to display the contents of the buffer, to display previously typed commands. I have another video where I'll demonstrate some of the basic commands for this module. And for now, this ends this module discussion. And I'd like to thank you for listening. Keep safe. Together we learn as one.